like legally, franchising is a very regulated industry. All this is going to be laid out. What are some of like the small business owners, like they need to keep track of KPIs, keeping track of their financials? What are those best practices of keeping track of the financials so that you are potentially ready?
Well, one most important thing is for when you're asking for good financials is have a good bookkeeper, right? There's people that dabble in Excel and they're good at it. Yeah. That's great. Get yourself an actual bookkeeping system, because you got to think about, if I sell this, is the person that is buying it, are they going to be good in Excel? It's like, listen, I'm an Excel whiz. That's great. I can beautiful dashboards, beautiful pivot charts, whatever you want. But is my client, is my franchisee gonna be able to do that? No, I'm a Marine, right? So we always go by keep it simple, stupid, right? I want to be able to take the same thing that I have, bring it over there, and it work just the same, right? So by that, simplify your chart of accounts. Have your chart of accounts ready to be deployed. Get yourself on a bookkeeping type system. Have everything going through there. Once you see it there, you can move it over. You can take that chart of accounts and move it someplace else. That's one of the most important things. Once you have your numbers down, then the KPIs start flowing in. What is it that makes the business tick? Is it like I mentioned before? Is it appointments? How many appointments do you need? How many appointments equals how much money you made all year? That's a good KPI. So, and then you think about, well, if I went all out, how many appointments could it take each month? Am I filling those appointments? What do I need to fill those appointments? And those are kind of like the questions that we start poking and prodding, just so that this way people can start thinking about it. Because a lot of people know their own KPIs, really verbalize it, right? They just know, oh, I have 20 appointments. I'll make $15,000 this month, and that's just the way some people work. Your accountant would see that and give you a totally different metric.
That's interesting, George. How often does a small business owner come in and they say, like, these are the 3 KPIs I use to measure my business, whether it's like phone calls to conversions, whatever, maybe people walking through the door and then they get to you and you guys are like, no, these are not the right KPIs you should be using to measure your business.
No, well, I'll never see that because of the fact that that's how they steer the ship. But what I will say is, like, we want to make sure that the franchisee knows that if this is how you steer the ship, that this is how they steer the ship, or they should be looking at in order for the ship to be pointing in the right direction, right? So if I'm seeing that, back to my appointments, if I have room for 20 appointments every week and I'm filling 12, right? And I'm not stressed and I have 3 employees, whatever. Now you could say, if I have 3 employees, I'm doing 12, that's 4 per employee. You would need to add another employee to fill that slot. It's just kind of, that kind of math is something like, okay, so I would spend more on direct labor, be able to fill that spot, but it would actually increase my income. We never project out, but it's mathematically.
Okay, that's interesting. So as they are potentially making this franchise disclosure document, there's 20 items, like it's a very complicated document. What are like some of the best practices to make it like clear, concise, like accurate for those potential new franchise owners that are going to be looking and analyzing this document? They don't want to spend hours and hours reading a 500-page document, or maybe they do. How do they go about that?
Yeah, it's tough because, like I said, it is repetitive. So once you've seen one, you've seen a lot of them, but there's certain things that'll stick out. The royalties, like I said, if they're getting the franchisors getting some type of a referral fee from the supplier, things like that, it'll be noted there. So it's hard. You kind of have to digest a bunch of it, but it's quick to point. Once you've seen a couple, there's certain things that are quick to be pointed out. You're just like, oh, okay, this is what I'm looking for.
Okay, that's awesome, George. And I know with SMB, do you guys also work with businesses that have started franchising, already have the FDD in place, and then you guys take them on and start working with them?
Yes, absolutely. There are some things that we like to revamp that we don't listen. If you've started franchising and you've seen that you haven't gotten enough traction, there's usually a reason for that, right? So either you've priced yourself out of the market, right? Or your item 19 isn't performing the way it should. You don't have to stick with what you have. This is the beautiful part about it, right? Every year you have to renew your item 19, your FDD. So these are the times that you have to start asking yourself, are the royalty structures too high? Are they too low? What does my item 19 look like? Should I be doing a full profit and loss instead of doing just a gross margin or gross sales? What are the benefits? Can I add some KPIs? These are all the things that we'll discuss with you. What we call it is the grow project, in order to help you grow and to point you in the right direction.